Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
A day of canoeing on a central Kentucky lake turns tragic after a man drowns.
A manhunt underway in Clay County after a man is accused of wrecking into a school bus and not stopping to help.
And what a new report from a state agency reveals about an ice bucket challenge that killed a firefighter. WKYT News at 5 starts now. An intense search today for a driver accused of crashing into a school bus full of children. Investigators say Gary Daniels left the scene of the crash in Perry County.
Yeah, and he was last seen in the Oneida community of Clay County, and that's where deputies have been searching all day. WKYT's Phil Pendleton is tracking the situation in his Crime Tracker report.
Gary Marvin Daniels is said to have a lengthy criminal record both here in Clay and in Perry counties. Police say that he is known to carry weapons. They say that he is to be considered dangerous. Police say relatives told them that Gary Daniels came home to Oneida in Clay County after witnesses told them he sideswiped a school bus on Kentucky 28 in Perry County. The bus was full of children when the incident happened just before 8 o'clock, but no one was hurt. Daniels is known to travel between Perry and Clay counties. They say his actions when he is driving make him dangerous. Sheriff Kevin Johnson says Daniels has led police on several chases recently, several of which led to damage to cruisers.
His disregard for human life in an automobile is zero. He just has no regard, period, for human life when it comes to driving a car. Police
say that he's got a lengthy criminal record facing warrants in Clay County, Perry County, Owsley, and Leslie counties. Much more of this coming up in our next newscast at 6 o'clock. But for now, in Clay County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
And we spoke to Daniel's mother this afternoon, why she says her son is no threat. That's according to her, coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. Sad end this afternoon to the search for a man on a central Kentucky lake.
Officials say a man fell out of his canoe on Cedar Creek Lake in Lincoln County about 12:30 this afternoon. Crews spent a few hours looking for him before recovering his body. WKYT's Jordan Valines is live now in this top story at 5.
That's right. Now, we just got done speaking with the deputy coroner a few short minutes ago. He was able to fill us in on the incident that happened earlier today at Cedar Creek Lake, which is about 8 miles east of here in Stanford. Lincoln County Deputy Coroner Don Gillum tells us that they were called out to the lake around 12:30 this afternoon for a recovery effort. He says an older gentleman who has been identified as 75-year-old Carl Lynn was in a boat on the water with his daughter when for some reason the boat capsized, causing both of them to fall overboard. A fisherman nearby heard them screaming for help and was able to make it over to them, but since the 75-year-old victim and his daughter were in the water for at least 30 minutes, it was already too late. The deputy coroner says Lynn died a short time later because he was unable to keep his head above water and his daughter was unable to keep him afloat. Lake experts say during this time of year, the temperature of the lake is typically around 60 degrees, which can be extremely dangerous for anyone who falls in, especially the elderly. And of course, we will have much more on this story coming up tonight at 6. Live in Lincoln County, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
All right, Jordan, thanks so much. The Kentucky Public Service Commission released its findings about the circumstances around a firefighter's death. Campbellsville Fire Captain Tony Grider died September 20th, a month after suffering injuries while helping with an ALS ice bucket challenge. WKYT's Victor Puente shows us what the report found about that accident.
This investigation focused on the power lines those two firefighters came into contact with. It comes out more than a month after one of them died. The report, released online, is more than 50 pages long, although many of those are pictures of the scene moments after that accident. On August 21st, Campbellsville firefighters were helping the Campbellsville University band with an ALS ice bucket challenge. The report says during that challenge, Captain Tony Grider and firefighter Alex Quinn came into contact with some overhead power lines while they were on a ladder truck. Originally, responders said an arc from the lines struck the two, but a statement from another firefighter said Quinn came into contact with the lines once, while Grider came into contact twice. The report was filed by Kentucky Utilities, and the Public Service Commission said their review was finished as the utility company was operating within all applicable safety standards. The Kentucky Labor Cabinet has its own investigation underway. The Service Commission did recommend more training with regards to power lines.
You know, based on this incident, the commission just felt it was appropriate to reinforce the need to make sure that all of the safety procedures are in place and are being followed so that something like this doesn't happen again.
A spokesperson for the Kentucky Labor Cabinet told me they don't have a timeline for when their investigation will be finished. In Frankfort, Victor Puente, WKYT.
A fundraiser was held earlier this month for Captain Grider's family. They are still accepting donations through the Adair County Fallen Brother Funds. Well, it is the type of forecast that might spook a few people.
That's right. You wouldn't know it from today, but we're looking ahead to really a wintry Halloween weekend. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is here with an early check of that cold forecast.
Yeah, it gets colder and colder the closer we get, to be honest with you guys. It's something we've had on our radar now for about the past several days. So let's enjoy what we have out there now, and it looks pretty darn good. We look at sky cams from across the area. Those temperatures have dropped into the upper 50s to around 60 in most areas, mainly sunshiny skies. Live First Alert Defender will be clean tonight. Will be clean through tomorrow. Now on Friday, we're going to see it lighting up with different colors. Speaking of colors, check out the cold air that is now mounting the attack. It is getting ready to make its way across the border into the high plains states. That is an Arctic front. The air behind that is actually coming straight off the Arctic Circle. It will modify before it gets here, but that is a blast of winter that is on the way toward the southeast and takes aim right at Kentucky and surrounding areas. So the focus of the forecast when I come back is indeed on the potential for Halloween wintry weather across not only central and eastern Kentucky, but the entire region. We're talking about rain, snow, crashing temperatures, and guys, I've even got wind chills that may hit the teens in some cases. It is a crazy and a wild weekend of weather when I come back in a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. People who have spent time treating Ebola virus patients attended a special event at the White House today.
As Omar Villafranca shows us, they had a chance to meet President Obama, who emphasized that the U.S. needs to support those who have been working to fight the disease.
President Obama thanked doctors and healthcare workers who joined the fight against Ebola in West Africa.
They make huge sacrifices to protect this country that we love. And when they come home, they deserve to be treated properly. They deserve to be treated like the heroes that they are.
Dr. Kent Brantley, who survived the virus and donated blood plasma to other Ebola patients in the U.S., took part in the White House event. The president says government policies to stop the virus from spreading in the United States should be based on science and good practices, not fear. Several states have issued mandatory quarantine protocols that go beyond federal guidelines.
So I put those on notice who think that we should hide from these problems. That's not who we are. That's not who I am. That's not who these folks are.
According to a new CBS News poll of over 1,200 people nationwide, 80% say Americans returning from West Africa should be quarantined upon arrival. Most also think foreign visitors from the Ebola zone should be quarantined, and 27% don't think they should be allowed in the country at all. Meanwhile, the U.S. military is taking extra precautions. Today, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel approved plans to keep troops returning from Ebola response missions under supervised isolation for 21 days. More than 1,000 U.S. troops are currently in West Africa supporting the fight against Ebola. Omar Villafranca, CBS News.
The nurse who was forced into quarantine in a New Jersey hospital tent is now in Maine. Casey Hickox says she'll break her quarantine tomorrow. Officials are threatening legal action to keep her isolated.
A man who told police he was kidnapped and forced to commit a crime now faces charges. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Franklin County. The State Journal reports a jury indicted Dillian Hayes on burglary and unlawful transaction with the minor charges. Earlier this month, Haynes told police two men forced him to break into an apartment. The Commonwealth's attorney tells the paper evidence shows that Haynes participated willingly. Thomas Wentz and Casey Endicott are also charged in the case. And in Anderson County, state police need your help finding a woman suspected of using stolen credit card numbers. Police say she used multiple numbers to buy items at the Lawrenceburg Walmart. They've released these pictures in the case. They say she got away in a dark-colored car.
Well, it is not the way one former Wildcat hoped to start his NBA career. Julius Randle had to be taken off the court on a stretcher during his debut with the Los Angeles Lakers. WKYT's Rob Bromley is here now with an update on that injury. Rob?
Well, it happened midway through the fourth quarter of the Lakers' season opener last night against Houston. Coach Byron Scott said other players told him they heard a pop. Randle was driving to the basket when his right foot buckled and he collapsed on the court. The injury, a fractured right tibia. Julius underwent surgery this morning. He will be lost for the season. So this is just a terrible thing to have happen. Randle had worked hard to get himself ready for his first NBA season. Remember, he was sidelined his senior year of high school by a broken right foot, but he was never injured when he was here at Kentucky.
All right, Rob, thanks so much. And the Lakers made Julius Randle the #7 pick in last June's NBA draft.
Recall alert for Chrysler owners. The company is recalling more than 560,000 SUVs and trucks. They say malfunctioning fuel heaters can cause fires or a software glitch and can disable the electronic stability control system. The recall involves Ram 2500 and 3500 pickups and Ram 4500 and 5500 chassis cabs from 2010 to 2014. Investigators are trying to figure out what caused an unmanned rocket to explode after liftoff last night. It was quite a scene. The rocket was on its way to the International Space Station with 5,000 pounds of supplies when this happened. Investigators will collect debris to study for clues. If people spot any items, they've been asked not to touch them because they could be hazardous.
Hundreds of people in Hawaii have evacuated their homes as lava slowly moves toward their town. Dozens of houses and businesses are in the path and nothing can stop the destruction to come. The lava flow began after a volcano erupted in June. People have had weeks to prepare but say it is still overwhelming.
Pretty heartbreaking. It's pretty sad, yeah. We don't know what's going to happen from now on.
Well, officials are allowing people to watch the lava destroy their homes if they want. They say they hope it will bring them a sense of closure. Pope Francis made some surprising comments in a meeting with scientists at the Vatican. The Pope said the Big Bang Theory and evolution are real, that God is not a magician with a magic wand. He told the group the Big Bang Theory, quote, does not contradict the creative intervention of God. On the contrary, though, it requires it. Theologists say the Pope is trying to bridge the gap between science and the church.
Science is designed to tell you the how of how the universe works. Religion is designed to tell you why.
In recent years, Pope Francis's predecessors have described evolution as a valid concept as well.
A Lexington school is taking a break from the traditional lunchroom. The Learning Center at Lindley decided to stop participating in the federal school lunch program. Instead, the students there will make the meals through the Culinary Arts program. They'll also provide pickup meals for district staff and cater local events.
They're learning to be adults, to be responsible, to be entrepreneurs in a business. They are developing something from the ground up. They know every single aspect of developing this catering and bistro business, and they're getting a chance to have a very powerful voice in it.
The change will take place beginning in January.
It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. It is another clue in the search for answers about autism. A new study looks at genes and the role they play in the disorder. Chris Van Cleve shows us the findings.
Researchers have now discovered more than 30 genes that contribute to the risk of autism. The study, published in the journal Nature, found new sets of genes may be involved, including some that control how nerve networks form in the brain.
When those genes are mutated, the communication between brain cells is severely affected, such that even the basic process of learning and memory is disrupted.
What makes this study stand out is its size. 37 research institutions in 9 countries using the latest technology to study 14,000 DNA samples.
Scientists at the Seaver Autism Center at Mount Sinai were among the researchers who conducted the massive study.
So when you identify a gene in autism and you know what that gene function is, and you know exactly how the protein affects brain cell connections, for example, you can start thinking about specific treatments, biological treatments, that can potentially reverse the deficits associated with that genetic mutation.
Researchers hope their findings will give some optimism to the families of the 1 in 68 children diagnosed with autism in the U.S. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, New York.
The authors of the study were also able to estimate risk associated with different kinds of gene mutations. They say some mutations came with a more than 20-fold increase in the risk for autism. Candy is usually the star of Trick or Treat, but if you want a healthier alternative, there's a few options out there. Dietitians recommend packages of unsalted pumpkin seeds, dried fruit, or 100-calorie packs of popcorn. Healthy beverages can be a good option as well.
Flavored water is a really good one. They have a bunch of flavors out there now that are all sugar-free and natural, and that way the kids can choose their flavor and even stay hydrated. They might drink more water as opposed to eating the candy while they're trick-or-treating.
While healthier snacks might not be the traditional Halloween treat, dietitians say many children will find them fun and their parents will appreciate the nutritional value. The state is offering a new scholarship to high school graduates who have been affected by prescription drug abuse. Kentucky's Attorney General's office is offering scholarships for $1,500. Several organizations and 2 parents who lost children to prescription drug abuse donated the money. 2 scholarships will be awarded each year, 1 to a female and 1 to a male student. For more health, education, and consumer news, just go to WKYT.com and click on Better Living.